Tyler the Creator dropped a new song within the last couple of hours, and it was fire. It is actually the premise on why I'm doing the video today. So if you're not a Tyler the Creator fan, bye. If you are, tell me why you are. And if you are not, please tell me why you are not. This video is going to explain why the industry is scared of the album that Tyler the Creator is about to drop. And we're going to get right into this video
Now, throughout this entire year in hip-hop, we have seen a series of moves that have went down from the biggest and most important rappers in the genre that have all shown one thing, which is that hip-hop artists more than anyone else in the music industry are more focused on fighting the powers that have been trying to devalue the significance of what artists put into the world, and now most recently in this series of industry-shaking moments. None other than Tyler the Creator is making a massive contribution to the music world that may change everything as we know it. And his album Chromakopia, which between what this album is going to sound like and what themes it's going to explore, it already is lining itself up to have the power to do something in the rap world that we hardly ever see just by how much of a spectacle that Tyler is setting it up to be. But now even beyond this, what is making this album turn more heads than any release in the music industry has in quite some time is that Tyler is releasing this album on October 28th. Which first off is closer than ever, so be sure to subscribe so you are up to date with everything surrounding this Tyler rollout. But now what's so significant about this exact day is that this is a Monday, which for the music industry, releasing an album at the beginning of the work week is something that you don't do, as releases have been pushed by the labels to drop on Friday. And seemingly every artist has been pressured and forced into following this trend, because that is when sales weeks in the industry reset, which will give you the strongest numbers for the charts, which therefore will translate to fans that you have the most buzz and you are the hottest out, which overall just...
See, one thing about Tyler the Creator that we gotta at least give him, he's not like everybody else. He's not doing this with your typical rollout songs on the radio. Yeah, I've heard Tyler the Creator songs on the radio, but that's not his strongest fan base. His fan base is not just the radio. It's probably people around the world on the internet. So his rollout is going to be a little bit different than what your favorite rapper's rollout is going to be.
The strongest numbers for the charts, which therefore will translate to fans that you have the most buzz and you are the hottest out, which overall just boosts your profile and will help you become a more successful artist. But now by Tyler the Creator ignoring this benchmark that the industry has tried to set forward, and deciding to disregard the boundaries the industry has set up when it comes to releasing a new album, despite the fact that he will be missing out on multiple key dates to track sales figures. First off, it's showing a change in the demeanor from one of the biggest musical superstars in the world right now in terms of the total value they bring to the industry in terms of sales, streams, acclaim, and touring, as Tyler is showing the industry that he does not care about the optics and pressure that they try to cram all artists into following by releasing on Fridays, and instead, he is dropping Chromakopia on a Monday to best serve the vision and story he is trying to tell us. And now, fortunately, moving release dates to a different day than Friday is something that Tyler the Creator has been talking about for quite some time, because in an interview with Nardwuar in 2023, he said, "I think it's a slot of passive listening on the weekend. If you put it out during the week, you really have that time to dive in and really listen." And as Tyler went on here to call it disrespectful to the entire culture and creation process of music itself, to just throw out what you released on a Friday when everyone's attention shifts and schedules change, from here you can see all of his motivation to release this record at the beginning of the week, which comes down to one thing, which is that Tyler is caring about the very music and product he is putting out more than almost any other artist on the planet does. And by doing this, he can give listeners the chance to have more active and attentive listening experiences where what you are hearing is actually leaving you with a strong impression. And now, as Tyler has been very adamant about this entire principle for so long, as even in his interview with Maverick Carter in August where he dissed Ian, the whole point of that was that he was saying that the current state of hip-hop disgusts him as a whole because artists do everything but talk about and celebrate the actual music they are putting out, which at the end of the day is why all rappers and musicians for that matter are here in the first place. It's very clear that with this new album, Tyler is trying to set a new trend in hip-hop which redefines and readjusts how listeners receive albums and then go through them. Because by putting a body of work out at the start of the week, people have the chance to live with the record while they go through their daily routines, no matter what that entails. And now, all in all, this type of way to experience an album gives listeners a much more pure and human listening experience where what the artist is giving you just has the chance to make such a stronger and realer impact on you whether you love it or hate it. And now for Tyler, While he has always released great albums, especially on the run we have seen from Flower Boy to Call Me If You Get Lost, and they have all left such strong impressions on listeners because they are such well-made and infectious bodies of work.
Yeah.
Him going as far now to shift the release date model to make sure that everyone is able to listen to Chromacopia in the perfect state shows that for him, this album is truly going to be his most boundary-pushing yet, and
it already worked. He had like 4 million views on it. It probably passed that already. It already worked, and he put that out yesterday on a Monday, so it is working.
Maybe even the most important release of his career. But beyond just the scope of Tyler and his art, this decision is so much bigger than just one person because what he is doing is scaring the music industry. Because when it comes to the state of where selling music is actually at, Tyler's shifting where things are at and pushing for these releases where listeners can be much more attentive about what they are actually experiencing, challenges the very standard that the music industry is trying to build an empire of smoke and mirrors on. Because with the Friday release model that we are currently living in, getting more music than we can ever even know drops on a single night, which is right when the weekend starts, has turned music into this space where everything is so quickly received and then forgotten about. And because of this, the quick consumption of albums and songs has made music fall into a sensationalist culture, where everything is about numbers and headlines and nobody even cares about the project that was behind whatever narrative is being spewed. And this fast food, digestible music culture has also allowed for the industry to cut so much funding and lay off thousands of workers and invest less into the products they are creating, because all of these pieces function together to create a system where the listener is getting an inferior product week after week because of how fast the table is being cleared and the next meal is being served. And so overall, with everything getting more lazy and generic by the day, at this point things are moving too quick for people to even notice. But now with what Tyler is doing, he is starting to turn a lever where things are switching back, and it is going to push the entirety of the music world to experience what it should feel like to sit with a blockbuster album and actually soak in its details, meaning, and narrative. And overall, for both the artist and the listener, this is an absolute win because it's going to build stronger connections between the people making music and the people listening to it, and allow for fans of musicians to start to resonate with music coming out in real time in the way that most creatives like Tyler don't just intend for, but build the entirety of their albums on to get the full listening experience. And also in the greater sense, if people are having more attentive listening experiences, music in the digital era could start to have more value like it did in generations before. Because in the past, when music was sold in stores, records used to come out on Tuesdays, and as we still see the long-lasting impact and staying power of albums from decades ago and from these eras, which both in terms of size and impact just seem to be so much larger than 99% of what comes out today. Hopefully Tyler the Creator's efforts with Chromacopia can start a trend where we start to see more artists shift their release dates to have these more effective and powerful listening experiences, which will give artists a better chance than they have had in years to have their album.
Guys, as consumers, we deserve this, man. Like, music is shifted so much where it's like we can't even dissect it enough to really consume it. Like, there was a time where you could appreciate a song, you could appreciate an album for what it's going. Nowadays, you're like, oh, he's on his 5th album in the year, and then you're just distracted from the whole artist, whole thing, because now you got to pay attention to 50 songs. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like, we need something new, and that's what I like about Tyler the Creator. Like, yo, that sound of that Noid song is like insane. It's infectious. He's right. From Monday, he put it out. People are going to talk about this song all week, leading right into the weekend, leading right into his release. So he's smart. He knows what he's doing.
Actually have staying power. And we are already seeing a duo like Earth Gang do a similar thing with their upcoming album, which is definitely showing that these types of sentiments are starting to be echoed more and more throughout circles in the music and rap worlds where artists really do care about delivering the best product possible. And now in a year like we have seen for hip-hop, in a way, artists trying to fight back and put more power in both their own hands and in what the listener is getting shouldn't be that much of a surprise, because from Kendrick Lamar, who has shifted how release models work by dropping some of the biggest songs of all time out of absolutely nowhere and even avoiding releasing some songs on streaming platforms to perhaps prepare for something much bigger in the future, to even Ye earlier this year with Vultures, which despite how you may feel about that record, it did increase the independent music scene's entire market share in the industry to an all-time high, which is significant and is showing that at the end of the day, artists really are the agents of change. Overall, it feels like what Tyler the Creator is doing is following in line with some of the greatest and most respected creatives rap has ever seen, who we have seen him all support, and is continuing the mission that they all seem to be fighting for, which is that in this era of music where things are becoming more disposable, and the industry isn't just allowing it, but it's actually encouraging it, The real artists want to make sure that a culture like hip hop and the value of its music is preserved and cherished. And in an industry where everything is moving more and more towards gimmicks, and even there are being efforts made to replace the artists themselves, the only way that genuine creatives and the power of the music will win over all of the noise and distractions is if these innovators find new ways to shine through and cause chaos in the industry that is going to corrupt the very structure of what they have been trying to get away with. And with Tyler the Creator now really making the biggest swing we have seen in the market this year by now directly challenging how albums are released and consumed right while he is in the prime of his career and at the height of his popularity. All in all, it seems like Tyler the Creator has put more thought into this album than anything else, because with the rollout itself, which has broken his cycle of releasing a record every 2 years, and which has already broken his recent trend of having music releases around the summer, and now Tyler teasing what is gearing up to be such a menacing and intense record right around Halloween. And as everything from the branding to the messaging we understand so far is showing us that this LP is going to be the biggest leap into something new we have ever seen from Tyler. Him taking yet another leap before the record could even drop, literally by just how the album is going to be released, as he will be putting it out on a day and time that music listeners now, and a good portion of his fans in general, have never experienced a record on.
That's crazy.
All in all, it is pushing the boundaries in every way we can think of. And all of this is pointing to the fact that no matter what happens when Tyler the Creator releases Chromacopia, that the industry is going to be terrified of this vision, not because of the record and music itself, but because Tyler is sending a message to all the people sitting in suits who are trying to turn the music industry into a business where there are less people working within it, and the people who are in it are making more lazy and generic music, all while trying to make the most money and exploit the listener all at once. That by having the will of the people behind him and understanding the movement of changing how the album release date at its very core works, that the machine that tries to control the music can never be bigger than the culture itself, and with the right artists leading the charge who want to give fans the best experience possible, and no matter what they do and how they try to devalue art, Tyler will be the very mascot and champion to show that the industry can never win. And so now with all that said, let me know. What do you think about where Tyler the Creator is headed with this album? Because as we know it, every single thing we know about this LP is going to be putting him in an unprecedented place, both as a creative in terms of music and as a businessman navigating the complicated landscape of the industry. And because all of this is really so exciting, as one of rap's greatest stars is just pushing the boundaries and limits more and more forward in terms of what can happen and what an artist can do. Be sure to subscribe and leave a like on this video so you are up to date on everything about Chromacopia, because we're going to be covering everything you need to know leading up to the album's release and then diving into every corner of it when it's out. So I can't wait to hear what you have to say. And now, if you want to see how just like Tyler the Creator, Kendrick Lamar has been pushing to bring art back to the center of hip-hop and music, and as a result, Drake is failing over and over again to make a comeback against him, check out the suggested video.
Alright, so let's talk about this video. I am impressed with Tyler the Creator. I'm proud of him. You know, shout out to the people that made it to this part of the video, man. You know, I've been looking at my average view duration lately, and people are not even making it to the end of my videos. So shout out to the people. So shout out to the people that actually made it to the end of the video. You know, that's the most important part as a creator, is actually having people wait to see what I really got to say. Tyler the Creator is a phenomenal artist, and I think that, you know, it's time that the underdogs really just shine. You know, there was a couple of years ago when Tyler the Creator said a statement, and Khaled had a rollout for God Did, and everybody was so excited about that. And he said that he was just cool, and then he ended up charting higher than him. And nobody mentioned it. And it showed me something. I was like, charted higher. I dug into this man's catalog for real, because at this point, I just kind of looked at it from a couple of songs. When I dug into, you know, his catalog, I really looked at a lot of songs that I never heard and realized that he was the producer and he's the one that put all this stuff together. I was impressed. It's like a baby Kanye, if you will, you know, with the mentality and the type of thoughts that he has when it comes with music. I'm excited to see what this album is going to be about. I'm excited to see where he goes with this album. I'm excited to see what he does with the promo. I'm excited to see, you know, the whole rollout. And I'm appreciating the process so far enough for me to actually do this video. Guys, I cannot do more content like this if you guys are not letting me know in the comments. So make sure you guys let me know in the comments more content that y'all want to hear from Tyler. If you want me to bring Tyler on the channel, let me know. Other than that, I need 100,000 subs by the end of the year. So hit the top bell, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.